episode of One Piece, Luffy and his crew continue to starve in the middle of the ocean, hoping that they can catch anything just to survive. And Sanji finally makes landfall at the super sweet and sugary Whole Cake Island, the home of Big Mom. Before I go any further in this review, let me just go ahead and put up a spoiler warning. I can't really talk about the intro of this week's episode without talking about some of the big spoilers from the manga series, and there are a few other little big things at the end of this week's episode, so there's your warning, here we go. So, there wasn't a completely brand new intro this week, but there was some brand new imagery to go along with that. In the last half of the intro, we get a lot of teaser shots of the Whole Cake Island arc, and they all look fantastic. Not only do we get to get a better look at the island, which is basically just an island covered with all sorts of sugary sweets, but we also get to see some brand new characters which are introduced, like Luffy fighting against seemingly himself and another massive soldier. This soldier goes by the name of Cracker, and let me just say, he is incredibly important and is going to be one of the best ways to start this brand new arc. Not only that, but we also get another great look at Sanji's family, Germa 66, who also start to make their full appearance at the end of this week's episode. But the intro completely gives away what they're going to look like, and color me surprised. I did not expect them to all be color-coded. I thought that they were all going to have blonde hair just like Sanji, and the same thing even goes for their outfits, where they would maybe be wearing all black or sort of a variation on that. But it seems like his family takes a lot of inspiration from Super Sentai shows or the Power Rangers, where they all have a specific color attached to each of them, and they look really fun and great. In particular, his father, who makes one hell of an entrance in the intro this week, and he just looks awesome. He's the only one who really has anything in common with Sanji aside from the twirliness. He's got the yellow blonde hair just like his son. The rest of the episode is all about Sanji arriving to Whole Cake Island, albeit something that he's not quite enjoying. That is until he sees a picture of who he's going to be married to, Pudding, who might look pretty familiar to some One Piece fans. She's super adorable and she turns Sanji into a frigging Looney Tunes character for a second. But he goes back to his brooding ways when Baron Tamago and Vito bring him to the island and they lock him up in this room, which just so happens to have a door that speaks. Get used to that. There's going to be a lot of things with faces that shouldn't talk that are talking in this arc. And I don't know if it's going to get really annoying or if it's going to be really fun, but so far I'm just really excited over the prospect of just arriving on Whole Cake Island. The whole design of it is basically just based around food and candy in particular, and hell, even when they arrive it looks like it's snowing. It's actually just cotton candy. Sanji is escorted by Vito, who's one of the underlings of Capone, and there's this scene this week which I don't even really know what to make sense of it. It just seems like filler for the most part. It's where he describes reading this comic series that he sees in the World Economic Journal, the newspaper that everybody reads in the One Piece world. And in this comic strip, it's about this marine hero who goes up against Germa 66, who are portrayed as these like old school 1960s anime villains, which all have their own specific color schemes. And the only reason that he likes reading these comics is because he thinks Germa 66 is awesome, despite the fact that they are always seemingly defeated in the comic. In the real world, they're pretty damned ruthless. And on their way to Sanji's room, Sanji ends up pissing off this one guy by the name of Gotti, who basically tries to point a Gatling gun right at his face, when suddenly he is stopped by this woman who will look very familiar to One Piece fans. And I will say, yes, she does have a connection to Lola, but I'll allow you to see that unfold. And if you don't remember who Lola is, go back to the Thriller Bark saga. You'll definitely be reminded immediately when you see that creepy shadow-infused warthog. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Man, the One Piece series is weird, and when you talk about this shit out loud, it really makes you realize how strange it all is. So Sanji's under quarantine, he's under the threat of being married, which honestly doesn't seem to bother him all that much, but he's also afraid that he's going to have to deal with his family eventually, who do make their appearance at the end of the episode, albeit completely covered in shadow. The final parts of the episode are also devoted to watching Luffy and his crew completely suffer as they're boiling in the sun and they haven't had any food for days. But at the very end of the episode, a seemingly mummified Luffy manages to capture a giant fish which lands right on top of their ship, and it looks like it's about supper time. Will the Straw Hat Pirates have a delicious meal? We'll find out next time. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? The Whole Cake Island arc has officially begun. If the brand new intro didn't make that clear, all of the new characters and the new locales you see in this week will definitely make that clear for you. I really love Germa 66. They were really cool characters before, but now that I know that they're kind of like a riff on the Power Rangers, I'm even more excited to see them in action. And the intro shows that they're going to be a lot of fun, as well as a confrontation between Sanji and his father, which I promise you is going to be really great. We're also going to be delving a little bit into Sanji's past. You can see some other glimpses of that in the intro, like a scene where he is seemingly caged up and covered with a iron mask. There's a lot more to that. We're actually going to get a lot more from Sanji in this arc. There's also a very spoilerific shot of Big Mom, who is displaying her key powers in the intro. I won't say what they are, but if you freeze frame that shot, you can kind of have a pretty good understanding of what it is she's doing, but you still won't have like a firm understanding of how she actually does use her powers. What I will say is, it's great to finally see her in color, out of the shadows. She looks just as intimidating as I was expecting her to be, and trust me, she is going to be one hell of a hoot in this arc right here. This was just a solid introduction to the Whole Cake Island arc. It was definitely kind of a slow episode, but that makes sense. We are watching an anime arc that is still going on in the manga version, and really there is no end in sight for that one, so I'm sure that the pacing is probably going to slow down for the next couple of episodes. The good thing is, I honestly think this is going to be one of the most visually stimulating arcs from the series, if the manga version is any indication. Let the brand new intro be a little bit of a preview to that. What I will say is, this was a great episode that is teasing Sanji's family, who, trust me, will live up to the hype, and all of the stuff going on with Luffy and their crew trying to capture a fish, that's also going to have a nice little comedic edge to it as well, so stay tuned for that. I liked this episode. It wasn't perfect, the pacing was a little weird, and even some of the artwork moments were frankly just not all that great. And as far as animation goes, there really wasn't anything all that crazy going on this week. That being said, it was still an entertaining episode, and it feels nice and fresh, especially for people who don't read the manga version, so I liked this episode. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It's always good to get excited about a brand new arc in One Piece, and this one is going to be a blast. So there's my thoughts on this week's episode. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about it in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the rest of the Whole Cake Island arc. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things One Piece anime and manga related, as well as a ton of other anime reviews. Make sure to leave me a comment or two. I'd love to chat with you guys about this week's episode, especially the brand new intro. And remember, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. You didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I will see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.